Hi guys, welcome to my first tank review. The observant amongst you will notice that the resolution has changed. It's a bit of an experiment. Before I sort of go on to the tank review, my original videos were first four. Were all run at the native resolution, all recorded at the native resolution that I run at, which is 3840 by 1024 off the top of my head. And that's because I run a triple monitor setup, which is a legacy from the motor racing stuff I do, but it's useful in games like this as well because it gives you a much wider view of seeing things in peripheral vision, and it makes the whole game a little bit more immersive. But as you've seen on the videos, it does cause problems when you save into 1080i resolution. So this is an experiment. I've set the screen roughly to 1080i, and then I'm just recording it raw. So anyway, onto the review. Alecto is the tank of choice for this review, and I've chosen it because, well, firstly, as it's not reviewed very often by people. Even I'm a little bit surprised that Jingles hasn't reviewed this one, and it marks. I love it. It's like a little Bert, or an alternative to Bert. And like Bert, she's quite flexible. The only thing that, well, if you put the derp gun on it, you've even got a close range artillery in the same way as you have with Bert. So this is Bert's cousin. Massively, really manoeuvrable. 50.5 speed limit, 42 traverse speed. No armour. Not even worth thinking about. You just hit this thing and it goes through. The only time it doesn't go through is if you hit the tracks or you get a crit on the gun. But what makes this tank is two big facts. The first is this view range. 390 metres view range. With my current configuration, I've actually got it set. It's up to 399. That's before the camo net. The binoculars goes on. It's got a great signal range, or a pretty decent one, 469, again, the way that I've got this thing set up. And I've got a 2-skull crew, 6th camo and everything else, and then I've got situational awareness, repairs, clutch braking, and repairs. So that's sort of the makeup of the crew at the moment. And basically, I love the flexibility of this tank. This tank could sit tier 6 games, and in tier 6 games it can contribute. It can contribute all the way up, no problem at all. You look at sort of and this is what I want to do with these tank reviews, is compare them to what is probably seen as either the most popular or the best or whatever, and it's got a bit of hexer, especially with the derp gun. Now you'll notice I don't have the derp gun loaded. There's two reasons for that. One, I hate derp guns. I'm completely anti-HE. The only exception is with Bert, and I haven't got any choice with that. And it's just such a fun tank to drive that I sort of bend the rules a little bit with that. But the other is to more directly compare this with the Alecto in the mode where the Alecto is most flexible. And it kind of makes the point that this thing isn't flexible, which is why you hit issues with it. Now, I don't have quite as good crew on this, but it's a decent enough crew. In terms of proving a point, the crew isn't a major difference. Speed limit's 8 kilometers an hour slower. It's got a much slower traverse speed, and what that means, and if I looked in Tank Inspector, it's also got a lot worse terrain handling. This thing feels stodgy. Feels slow. It gets up to speed slower because it's heavier than the Alecto, even though it's got a bit more power. It's not a manoeuvrable tank. It just doesn't feel manoeuvrable. The second problem is that the gun traverse is quite limited. The Alecto has got almost 45 degrees both ways, and as you saw in my T15 video, when you've got that much traverse, you don't have to move to get quite a wide range of movement. You can cover quite wide angles without having to move, especially if you strategically place your tank to use that. Yeah, they are. This is more heavily armoured, and that's where people tend to be very aggressive with the Hetzer. In a tier 4 game, that's fine. You can get away with it. You've got armour that does bounce. It does work. Put the derp gun in, you can just have a lot of fun with it. But it's still slow. It's still limited. And the other thing that limits it is the view range. 260. If I've got slightly better crew, I'd get up to 270. But that's still 130 less than what you're getting at the Alecto. Signal range, 302 with the configuration I've got at the moment. Less than the Alecto. The Hetzer is a one-trick pony. Well, two trick in a way. One, yeah, in the higher tier games you can hide it away in the same way as you can the Alecto and snipe from a distance. The two guns are close enough. If I load this gun up, because you're not going to snipe with the well, you can try and snipe with the derp, but I wouldn't recommend it. If you compare these two guns, same aim time, same dispersion, same pen. So same pen on normal AP. The £6 got better pen on premium, but lower rate of fire, and lower DPM despite having more damage for the Hetzer over the Alecto. And of course the Alecto, because it has got such a quick rate of fire, has nearly always got a shell in the chamber, so it's always spewing out shells and not getting spotted, because its camo is slightly better than the Hetzer. But the other thing it can do is spot its own targets, because it's seeing out to tier 10 view ranges, which means it could double up as a scout. If you're in that situation, you need a scout. There's nothing to stop disappear to the edge, on the edge of the Magic Forest, or any other areas where there's lots of big cover and you want to throw a passive scout. And you just think, the only option I've really got for now is scouting early in a game or something like that. The Alecto will do it. But the other thing is the Alecto has got good camo. Hetzer's not bad. Alecto is actually slightly better, and you can use that to your advantage. I'll show you in a tier 6 game, which I wouldn't have had a hope of playing the way I did with the Hetzer, because it wasn't manoeuvrable. If it's not rotating to targets quick enough, it's not quite as hidden. It's not spotting stuff quite so easily, and I just felt a lot more comfortable in the Alecto, even though I ended up getting one-shotted. I'd already done a load of damage. It didn't matter. I tried to do something similar in the Hetzer, and it just didn't work, because the Hetzer hasn't got that manoeuvrability. So that's why I think the Alecto is the better tank. It's more flexible. It's got much more rounded thing. You can't use it as aggressively, and that's the Hetzer's one trick. I can go to a tier 4 game, got tier 3s, tier 2s, and just obliterate them at close range. You can obliterate them in the Alecto if you do choose to load the derp, and in fact there's two quite interesting derp guns on it. You've got this, and oops, I'm not used to such a narrow screen. Oh, hang on, don't want to buy it. Just want to view it. There we go. You've got these two derp guns, neither of which, in terms of being a derp gun, are as good as the. Come on, get up there. There we go. Neither of them are anywhere near as good as the Stugs in terms of damage output. The howitzer is. Oh, actually, I didn't notice that. Interesting. Well, there you go. I've just learnt something while I'm doing this review. The 3.7-inch howitzer on the Alecto is actually better than the comparable gun on the Hetzer. Well, it is with normal rounds. It's slightly worse with AP, because it's heat in the Hetzer. But there you go. The standard. Oh, I tell a lie. Ignore me. I'm reading these things wrong. We saw all the armour's slightly the wrong. So the the order of the shells is different on the two, and that's what's confused me. So yeah, so your high explosive is 47 and 370 on the Alecto, whereas it's 53 and 410. So it's slightly better high explosive, and it's slightly better damage, or quite substantially better damage, but slightly less pen for the heat. The alternative is the 25 pounder, and this is an interesting gun because it's more accurate, and in fact both the British guns are more accurate than the Germans, so it can be used at a longer range. Better rounds per minute, again, both the British guns have got better rounds per minute, smaller shell, makes sense. Still decent damage with the high explosives, 280 isn't bad, but you actually get two different AP rounds. And the 92 pen AP round isn't bad, and in fact the 25 pounder in the war, which was the general purpose field gun that the British Army used, it was equipped with AP rounds, and it was used as an anti-tank gun. Wasn't as good as the 6 pounder, but it was slightly more flexible because it got much better HE round, but it allowed artillery regiments to have the ability to take out tanks. 71 and 92 pen is going to go through anything that they were facing at that time. What I'm talking about is the desert. In the desert, the only thing that it would have had trouble with would have been a tiger, and it faced negligible amounts of tigers. Everything else it could pen. So it was used in the war as an anti-tank gun, although the 6 pounder was the first choice, obviously. So that's enough about the tanks and sort of why I think the Alecto is the better tank, or the more flexible and more usable tank. And we'll now go on to some gameplay. Right, and we're on Fisherman's Bay. Tier 6 game with quite a lot of heavies. There's 5 heavies, and this game is also interesting because there's an enemy Alecto, so I've been paired up against Alecto, not Alecto, sorry, Hetzer. So let's see how the two of us go. I'm going to go south, not southeast. The reason being, I just prefer fighting on this particular map in the village. But as a tier 4 tank, I'm taking a bit of a risk. But I've decided to be quite aggressive. I'm going to try and use two things to my advantage here. One is my view range, and the other is my camo rating, which isn't quite as good as it could be, because I haven't got camo on this at the moment on this particular. I've got the other two schemes, but not this one. A bit silly, but never mind. So not that tree I did knock down deliberately, and the reason is, you'll see in a minute, I'm basically trying to find somewhere where I can get reasonable amounts of bush cover, and I want to be able to move around when whilst I'm not being spotted. There is one arty in play, so it might have spotted me, but it didn't. I didn't get any arty fire, so I'm now reasonably well covered. I've got a certain amount of coverage, both from the tree I knocked down and the bushes ahead, although I'm not sure the bushes are providing a huge amount of cover. I've got my camo net up, my binoculars out, and I can see anything coming up here. I'm sort of kind of semi-double bushed, and the first target missed the shot because he came in quite late, but he did a turn and is immediately finding he's meeting a 6 pounder the other way, which scares him off. And at this stage, that's the whole point of me sitting here. Is I've got a nice long alleyway I can shoot down. I've got reasonable amounts of cover, and I'm reasonably well hidden. When anything comes this way, I can penetrate everything. If I have to, I've got 7 rounds of APCR, but even against tier 6 heavies, 110 pen's going to put, going to give you a chance. You've got a chance of penning. The VK pokes out again and meets a 6 pounder coming the other way. I'll just zoom out to see what's going on. But for now, haven't been spotted. And now that annoyed me. Those two tanks timed. I tried to get a shot on the the KV1, which should have been perfect and gone straight through. But I didn't want to hit my the two tanks moving across in front of me, the 361H and the KV1. So I sort of tried to get a shot over the back of the tank and hit into the upper side of the KV-1, and really wasn't any chance of that. I was moving here just to see if I can get better shots, and sort of the left-hand side of the alleyway, the two tanks disappeared, and I decided, right, I'm going to try and move on. So I can see that this other flank is dying a little bit. There's a ECA there, which I start putting shells in, and I think it's concentrated in the 1S, so even though I'm not spotted, he hasn't shown any interest in aiming at me, so I'll carry on shooting him. I don't kill him, he dives out, and now I think I'm back in cover at this stage. That M6 has moved in, I bounce one off the M6, and again get spotted, and the Cromwell then puts a shot into me, I think. There we go, there's the shot. I move back, and now I'm not sure again. I don't know whether I sort of must be flitting in and out of cover, or he just can't get a clean shot on me, or just dies too quickly to think about it. So I'm back in behind this bush, and I actually think at this stage I'm in cover. It turns out I'm not, because I get hit by the AP from the M6. But in all, I've done 800 damage thereabouts, maybe a little more with line shots, and 800 damage in a tier 4 tank in a tier 6 game, and the thing to kill is a tier 6 tank is, you know, that's perfectly acceptable. The Alecto is still alive on the enemy side, so the Hetzer, but he actually camps the base and eventually gets just swamped and does next to nothing for the game. So move on now to a reshaped can't remember the name of this map. What's it called? Can't remember. So someone will tell me the things. I'm terrible at remembering map names. And I'll do a little bit of experiment here. Again, tier 6 game, tier 4 tank. A nice little theme for these first two. And again, I'm really showing off the camo rating of this tank. I've noticed, I haven't really explored this map, but I've noticed that there appeared to be this alleyway. So, well, I'll peek up here. I want to do long range shots on the enemy. I don't want to, you know, sit back and, or, you know, I can't really get involved because I've got no armour against it, you know, opponents twice my size. So I move up to here, up to this nice little ledge, and wait for everything to come up. It takes me a minute or two just to get. What I'm doing there is just working out the traverse, giving myself a nice traverse that I'm happy with. I always do that initially, and then I spot the Panzersuffel, and I did that is actually a spot at 434 metres. I spot him. He doesn't know where these shots are coming from, and no, just missed on the last shot. He just dunks out of the way. But all that damage was spotted damage from me, or direct damage. So half of it was direct damage, and about 100 spotted damage. So that gives you a really good idea of the view range that you can get with this thing. So I move around, and I'm now going to start moving on. And this is where I get a little bit annoyed. Although in the replay you're seeing that I can see that there's a KV-1S behind me. I think actually I didn't realise it at the time, and I get spotted. There you go. Now I'm sure I got spotted because the 1S fired. I did fire at more or less the same time, but either way, the points, you know, there's a little bit of a. You see, I get a little bit upset. I don't think I would have been spotted by the Chi-2 had the 1S not been there. The 1S has got no camo. It's not a sniper either. It's got a worse accuracy gun than I've got. And my guns, you'll see, is pretty effective at range. I mean, I'm shooting out at 450. But kind of, you know, that 1S is doing nothing alongside me. But for those who don't know, if you're within, I can't remember, close proximity, I'll call it, to another tank, and you fire and get spotted, or just get spotted by any mechanism, the tank nearby, which may not be spotted on its own, will get spotted by being next to you. So I'm pretty sure that's what happened there. I don't think it was me shooting that actually got me spotted by the G2. I'm almost certain that it was the KV-1S firing that got me spotted. So I moved out of his way. I'm not going to argue with the big tank. I've also got some fire support from a T-34-85 to my left. I think I could justify camping here because I haven't got any camo. I've got good view range. I can support anything moving across, and that's exactly what I'm doing. The 1S, why? I'll give him a hint again. You know, what are you doing here? He's one of the top tier heavies. He should be out there. As it turns out, he's still in the game. But it didn't matter. But you can see here, I'm sniping out at 500 metres, and my shell's going in into the lee, into the sides of tanks that are trying to move in and try and engage our heavies on the corner of Fail. So I've done 764 damage already, and it's not yet. ARL pops up. Now, of course, I'm not spotting these now. These are being spotted by others. I'm just shooting at shadows, shooting at stuff that's being spotted by others. But that's what tank destroyers do, you know. And then the M3 Lee pops up, put a shell into him. You'll notice, apart from that one instance when the 1S was next to me, I have not been spotted. That Lee was right next to the Chi-2, more or less. If you look, the two wrecks are very close to each other. I was not spotted when I shot the Chi-2. The Lee. I was spotted when I shot the G2, and it's almost certain the reason was the 1S. I'm not sure if you get any more shots, so I think that might be all she wrote for this one in terms of shots. We'll soon see. But that's sort of the point I'm making. It's very good camo rating on this tank, and it's very good view range. We saw just how good the view range is. I spotted that Panzersoffel right on the limit of the physical view range in the game. 450 metres is the furthest you can view, and I pegged that Soffel. You know, so we've seen how good a sniper it is. We've seen how good it is at camo and how good it deals in a game where it's bottom tier. I've only picked up one kill, but I've got over 1,000 damage. That I won't bring up. I don't think I'll bring up the post game stats, but I have done over 1,000 damage in a tier 6 game. You know, none of the other tier 4s got anywhere close to that. And again, there was a Hetzer on the enemy side, or is it Alecto on this occasion? I can't remember. I think it's Alecto on the enemy side. But just shown, you know, when you use these tanks in the right situation, this is what they can do. They can just support an entire game without any issues whatsoever. Okay, and here we are on to the last game. And as a complete contrast to the last two games, this one is, as you can see, we're top tier, and very definitely top tier. Now, interestingly, we've got Alecto on both sides. They've got Hetzer, there's an SU-85, a couple of Marders in the game. So what we're actually seeing in this game is a very interesting comparison. Now, of course, playstyle comes into it, but at the end of the day, we've got an interesting comparison in that we've got most of the different types of tier 4 tank destroyer in this particular game. Now, because I'm top tier, I think, yeah, I'm going to be a little bit aggressive here. I love that ladies first comment from medium 3. I don't know whether he knew that I was in the game, but I did find that kind of humorous. And this lady's going to try and have some fun. So I'm going to move up into the village with the obvious intention of trying to just use the cover up here to allow me loading now painting my tank. So camera rating's going to be a little bit higher. So I move in here, spot the Marder 2, and I shoot these two walls down just so that I've got the chance potentially of seeing through them. Then I spot this Marder 2, so I thought I'd try and get some shots on him. Again, just shooting the wall down. I can't actually see him, I'm just guessing. A little bit wasting shots, but one of the things with the Alecto is you're not short on shots. You've got, I've got 90 odd rounds of AP left, I've got 7 APCR and 19 rounds of HE. You really don't need HE. Now this one is interesting because you can see 1,
Enemy armor is hit.
2, and now HE. I'd taken 2 shots, so it's about 4 seconds. I'm not sure if it was until I was shot that
Enemy armor is hit.
1C actually spotted me, and by the time he had any chance, never had a chance of reacting. So I think actually we're clear. So I scoot across behind this bush,
Enemy armor is hit.
and that M3 Lee can't see me. I can see him, he can't see me. He's with the first shot. But he's out at 300 metres, tries to get behind the bush, and then the Panzersuffel pops up. Now the Panzersuffel's in cover, but he's just fired. So I think actually I'll go for the RT because, even in a game like this, I'm trying to go for the RT. Good idea. He moves, I guess he's shot, I actually miss. So I go back to the M3, which backs off a bit. I just missed with that shot. I think it will lead right and deal with it. Now I know that RT's back there, and I think I can probably spot him if he fires again. So I'll just wait. And there he goes. He's almost certainly just fired, dead. So again, that's really showing the camo bonus of this, but I've played it completely differently. I've been very aggressive in this game rather than the more cautious. Well, I was quite aggressive in the tier 6 game, to be fair, but this is a more carefree aggression. I'm prepared to take a hit or two in this game, whereas in the tier 6 games I know that a hit is just instant death. And whilst there are tanks in this tier that can kill me too, straight off, and there's that medium 3 that was going about the ladies. Most of them won't kill me one shot. I've got 270 health, I can take a hit off most of them, and I've got good, I'm happy to do that and trade a bit of DPM for a bit of damage. Can't get a shot on the Alecto. So both there, unlike me where I've been quite aggressive, their 2 Alectos have sort of acted as support. So their Alecto and the Hetzer. Now the Hetzer could have been more aggressive. I think he's got I don't know that I get a good look at him, so I'm not sure, but I think, judging by the damage he did in this game, he probably had one of the non-dirt ones on. But he's gone down to the Valentine. And then, now this is interesting, the Alecto actually has the 25 pounder. I can tell because I can see the muzzle brake, and you can see the 2 holes in the muzzle brake. The 6 pounder does have a little muzzle brake on it, but the 25 pounder is a very, very distinctive muzzle brake. So the Marder, and what their Alecto is actually being played very well. And look how he's using the cover. And this is what you can do with the 25 pounder. You can shoot over objects. You can do the same with the dirt gun, but it does require a certain amount of skill, and at longer range it's really hard to pull off. But I actually get it by shooting over that little crest. I do, even the 6 pounder's got a little bit of drop in it, and that's how I killed him there. In terms of kills, that's all she wrote. But you can see just how flexible this tank is. Another 1,000 damage game in a tank with 270 hit points, and in this case 3 kills. It's just such a flexible, mobile little beast, and yeah, give her a go, and I think you'll enjoy it. If you like things which are mobile, I missed this shot on the Sexton and someone takes him out before I get a second shot in. I think it was the SU-85. The 2 Alectos did the most damage in this game. I did the most, their Alecto did a lot. Our SU-85 did quite well. The Hetzer was nowhere. Again, it's just, what bigger advert do you need than that? Anyway, I hope you enjoy this review, and I will speak to you soon. Ta-ra.